So really quickly, just with a show of hands, who's ever heard of character traits before? From third grade or second grade or whenever? Okay, a few of us have. That's good. Violet, do you have a question, or are you raising your hand to tell me that you've heard of character traits?
Okay.
Oh, okay. So, character traits. One thing that we need to remember about character traits is that sometimes people confuse character traits with just description or adjective. Alexa, do you have a question? Well, I mean, you might like this, but it's not the same thing I'm talking about. Christopher. Do you have a question, Christopher, or no? Oh, okay. One thing that people do is they confuse character traits with just a description. Okay? So I want you, let's use the book we're reading right now, Coraline, as an example. Okay? Character traits do describe the characters in whatever we're reading, whatever piece of text we're looking at. But character traits do not talk about outside of a character. What I mean by that is having curly hair or straight hair is not a character trait. Being tall or short is not a character trait. Having brown eyes or blue eyes is not a character trait. Wearing red sneakers is not a character trait. Character traits tell you about a character, but not what the character looks like. Character traits tell you what kind of person that character is. Right now, Bella, we're talking about character traits, what they are and what they aren't. What's up, Jadine? They can do with emotions, but it's not exactly the same thing. But I'm glad that you asked. I'm going to show you a little chart that we can use to help us remember. Okay? So whenever you think of character traits, you're going to think of the word fast. Okay? F-A-S-T. I'm going to zoom in here. So notice that for this character trait chart, we use a stick figure. Okay? One of the reasons why we use a stick figure is because it is not important what the character looks like. That's why there's no detail about what kind of clothes are they wearing, what kind of shoes are they wearing, or what color are their eyes or their hair or anything like that. That's not important to character traits. Okay? Character traits start by, kind of like what you said, JD, the emotions. Okay? You start with their feelings. How does this character feel? So let's take, for instance, like with Coraline, how does she feel when her parents are missing, when she finds out or when she realizes her parents are missing? How does she feel? Noah? She feels sad. So if she's sad that her parents are missing, Noah, what do you know about Coraline? If she's sad that her parents are gone, what do we know about her? Does she like her mom and dad? A little bit or a lot? A lot. How do we know it's not just a little bit? What is she? Do you think she would have? They put that part in the book where she goes to sleep crying. If she only liked her parents a little bit, would she have gone to sleep crying when they weren't there? No. So feelings is the first thing you think about. How does this character feel about things? If Coraline is sad that her parents are gone, that means she loves her parents. The next thing you think about is the actions. What does the character do? So speaking of Coraline and how she loves her parents, what does she do that shows us that she loves her parents? Jadine? What does Coraline do that shows us she loves her parents? She goes back to the other mother's house. Okay. And when she does, Jadine, how does she feel about going back? Like, is she excited? Is she happy about it? She doesn't feel good, right? So even though she doesn't like it, she still does it anyway, right? She doesn't let the fact that she's scared of going back stop her. So what word could we use that would describe that? Someone who's, even though they're scared, they make sure that they still do it anyway. Alexa, how would you describe that? She was scared, she still does it anyway, she doesn't stop. What would you call her? Well, maybe about her parents, but like we were talking about her going back to the other mother, right? To try to get her parents back. We said that she was feeling like scared about that, but she still went. So, what would you say? How would you describe her then? If she's scared, but she still does it, okay, brave. So she's not, like a scaredy cat or something, right? Because even though she is scared and even though it's scary, she still goes back and she tries. The next thing we look at after the feelings, after their actions, you look at their saying, or what are they saying? What words are they using? So think about something that Coraline has said a couple of times. So one thing she's repeated a few times in the story is people keep getting her name wrong. They call her Caroline. She keeps saying, "My name's Coraline." Not Caroline, Coraline. The other thing she said a couple of times to herself or to other people, she says, "I am a what?" What does she call herself a few times in the story? When they are asking her why is she going out into the mist, or when they asked her why was she looking around the house, she called herself a what? Do you remember, Noah? Started with an E. She, that's all right. You did really well. She called herself an explorer more than one time. So we know that she loves her parents. We know she's very brave. She's an explorer because that first day in the house, right, when they first got there, she wanted to see all the stuff around it. Then when it was raining and she couldn't go outside, she explored all around the house. She likes to go around and look for things. She's an explorer. And the last thing you look at, last thing you think about is their thoughts. What is this character thinking about? So what is something that Coraline's been thinking about? I know like recently we got to this part where she's playing a game with the other mother. So what has Coraline been thinking? Violet? Okay. So she knows that she has to win, right? How does she know where to go look? Because she, so far in the part that we've read, she's found one of the ghost children, right? And she's looking for the other one. How did she know where to go look? Bailey? Okay. She had a stone that had a hole in it. How did she know to use it? Do you remember what it was? There were two different things that gave her a clue about that stone. Two different things that gave her a clue that she followed about using that stone. Christopher? Well, she uses the stone to find the marble. How did she know that it was the marble, Christopher? What happened? Not just because it hit the wall, because she dumped out all of the toys, right? And it's not just that the marble hit the wall. How did she know that the marble was what she was looking for? What made the marble different than the other toys? Bailey? But how did she know? How did she know it was the marble? What did she do? Do you remember? Had to do with the stone. She did something with the stone and then she knew it was the marble, not any of the other toys. Noah, what did she do? Perfect. She picked up the stone and she looked through it. And when she did, she noticed that that marble was a lot brighter, right? Everything else she said was gray and white, like a pencil drawing. But that the marble was glowing. So what does that tell us if Coraline is able to like figure out these clues without someone telling her? Because nobody went up to her and told her, hey, it's the marble, make sure you pick up the marble. She looked through the stone, she saw it was glowing, she picked it up. So what does that tell us if Coraline is able to figure out all these clues on her own? Jadine? Maybe. But what does it tell us about her? If she's able to figure out clues on her own, Jadine, no one has to help her? Tells us that she's smart. So we know a couple of things about Coraline. From her feelings, we know that she loves her parents. From her actions, we know that she's brave. From what she's saying, or what she said in the book, we know she's an explorer. From her thoughts, we know that she's smart because she's figuring out these clues on her own. I can also say, based on what she's done, and based on what we read in the book, I think she's also pretty nice. I mean, the children were telling her about what happened to them, but instead of just thinking about saving her parents, without the ghosts asking her, she started thinking about saving them too. Not because they said, hey, you need to save us too, but she just decided that she was going to help these people out without being asked to. I would say that also proves that she's pretty nice too. Now I want you to notice something about all of those things. Loving her parents, being brave, being an explorer, being smart, being nice. None of those things have to do with the way she looks. None of them. The way a character looks is not the character traits. Character traits has to do with what kind of person that character is.